The New England Patriots are making an interesting decision at offensive coordinator, hiring Alex Van Pelt as their offensive coordinator for this upcoming 2024 season. In today's video, we're going to break down, what do I think of him? Do I like him? Do I not like him? Were there better options on the board? And was I surprised? Yes, I was. But we'll get into all of that in today's video, along with this hiring very well could indicate what the Patriots are going to be doing with the third overall pick. But we're going to hop into that in today's video and, of course, break down the sponsor of today's video with BetUS. Now, I know what a lot of you are already thinking. Straight off the bat, the Patriots had, 11 or 12 offensive coordinator interviews before Van Pelt was officially hired. So why don't I know about this guy? Why wasn't he a reported interview? And that's because he interviewed today and then left the organization, or I should say rather left Gillette Stadium with a contract to be signed on as the offensive coordinator for this upcoming season. That's why you didn't hear about this interview as the 13th interview at offensive coordinator, is because he came in, sat down with Jerod Mayo for his first interview with the team, laid out his plan, laid out what he was going to do with this offense. Jerod Mayo liked him so much that he hired him on the spot. Like I said, though, there were a lot of other guys that were lined up for this job. Unfortunately, though, a lot of those guys were starting to get signed. They were either getting signed by other teams, or they were just going to be staying with the team that they were previously with. Now, we know that Nick Caley, former Patriots tight ends coach, more recently the tight end coach for the Rams, was a guy that was supposedly leading the pack in terms of the Patriots offensive coordinator for this upcoming season. Now, I definitely like Van Pelt a lot more than I would have liked Nick Caley, and that's nothing against Caley. It's just Van Pelt works a lot closer with the positional needs that the Patriots have, air quote, quarterback. But we'll get into that in a little bit, of course. But the Patriots also met with Zach Robinson, who was my own personal favorite. He obviously ended up going with the Falcons as their offensive coordinator. Dan Pitcher, he was hired with the Bengals. Shane Waldron, he was hired by the Bears. Gerard Johnson stayed with the Texans. Tanner Engstrand, and I don't think I'm saying that name right. I'm probably not. He was the passing game coordinator for the Detroit Lions. He was a guy that is still on the market that I was personally really, really interested in. I was also interested in Clint Kubiak, who is the 49ers, I want to say, is their passing game coordinator. He's a guy that I liked again with the 49ers, but there was another guy with the 49ers that we were hearing was a real possibility because of how well he interviewed with New England, and that was the 49ers tight end coach, Brian Fleury. So again, this one comes as a surprise, but this move does also make a lot of sense for the Pats. This move to me really signifies what the Patriots are going to try to do with the third overall pick in this upcoming draft, and that's quarterback. And I know a lot of people don't necessarily agree with the idea of going quarterback, which if you're in the Discord or in my comments, you can understand because I vocally went off on some people about not going quarterback in the first round. But Jerod Mayo was already asked just a couple of weeks ago about the third overall pick, and he said, we're going to go with a player of a big need for us. Hint, hint. Nudge, nudge, quarterback. Then the offensive coordinator you finally end up signing and didn't even let leave the building just so happens to work exclusively with quarterbacks throughout his entire NFL tenure as a coach, but also was a former quarterback in the NFL himself. Yes, you heard that right. He was a quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 1993, then went to the Kansas City Chiefs in 1993 also, and then also played for the Buffalo Bills in 1994 to 2003 before ultimately being a positional coach in the NFL. Now, if we're going to look at him as a coach throughout his tenure, in 2005, he was a quarterback coach for Frankfurt Galaxy. Then in 2006 to 2007, he was the Buffalo Bills offensive quality control coach. Then in 2008, he was the Buffalo Bills quarterback coach. In 2009, he was the Bills offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. In 2010 to 2011, he was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback coach. From 2012 to 2013, he was the Green Bay Packers running backs coach. From 2014 to 2017, he was the Green Bay Packers quarterback coach. From 2018 to 2019, was the Cincinnati Bengals quarterback coach. From 2020 to 2023 was the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach of the Cleveland Browns. So not only has he worked with quarterbacks throughout his entire career, not only does he have experience calling plays at the NFL level, but he's also worked with a multitude of different positions along the offense. And I really think that's part of why the Patriots were seriously considering Nick Caley. A lot of people wondering, what is it about him that they want to get him back in the building? And the big reason they were considering him was because of the multiple offensive groups that he's worked with. Now, not only does he work in the passing game in terms of Nick Caley, but Nick Caley, working with tight ends, also worked a bit in the running game. He worked with two of the biggest factors a part of an offense. As were, if you look at some of these other head coaches, or rather offensive coordinators that they were looking at, they were either tight ends coaches or they were pass game coordinator. And I think that the Patriots are really looking to bring in a guy like they did who can mesh the run game with also the pass game for a young quarterback. Now, guys, real quick, got to give a shout out to the sponsors of this video and this channel all football season long, including the postseason here with the upcoming Super Bowl. And there's no better time to place some bets than on Super Bowl 58 between the Kansas City Chiefs and the 49ers. Fingers crossed, though, for the freaking 49ers this year. Come on, Brock Purdy. Come on. And George Kittle. That guy's got something to prove. But BetUS, guys, we already talked about them all season long. You know there's no better place to bet. Whether you're looking to place parlays, player props, this is your place to do so. Not only can you bet on NFL games, but you can bet on NFL futures. You can bet on basketball, baseball, horse racing, soccer. If it's a sports you can bet on, you are going to be able to do that with BetUS. And right now, you guys can get a 125% sign-up bonus when you use the link in the description box below and pinned in the comment section below. You guys signing up for BetUS is completely free, and you're getting a 125% sign-up bonus with it that more than doubles your initial deposit. And you guys signing up for BetUS significantly goes to help support me and this channel. Now, not only is BetUS an opportunity for you guys to go ahead and make some money and bet on, but with Super Bowl 58 just next weekend, if you guys want some inside info and picks for advice from award-winning sports bettors from this big game of Super Bowl 58, go over to the BetUS Picks and Predictions channel over on YouTube. In the description box below will be a link. Go ahead, click on that link, check out their YouTube channel, watch their videos so that you are guaranteed to hit on some of your picks. If you are betting for Super Bowl 58, I will have, again, a link in the description box below to that YouTube channel. Thank you again, BetUS, for sponsoring the channel and the video, and make sure you guys go ahead and check them out. Now, I think a lot of people are going to be asking, well, who has he coached in the past at the quarterback position? Because no matter who it is under center, whether that's Kirk Cousins or whether that's a rookie with the 3rd overall pick, or whether that's Bo Nix, if they decide to go with him, or J.J. McCarthy in the 2nd round, which I do doubt ultimately happens, we should probably know the guys he's worked with and helped develop. He's worked closely with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay when he was first starting off his career. He worked with Andy Dalton in Cincinnati, but he also worked with Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson during his time in Cleveland. Now, signing him, surprisingly, doesn't really have those ties to the Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan offense. That's something we knew that they were looking to implement. You look at all of their coaches, outside of just a couple of guys of those 13 offensive coordinator interviews, they all had connections to either Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers or Sean McVay and the Rams. Van Pelt doesn't have either of those. He's going to run a West Coast offense here in New England, which is definitely something that I like. I think it's going to be definitely new. It's going to be a breath of fresh air, but it's not going to be what a lot of NFL teams are trying to do with the McVay or Shanahan offense. To me, I also wonder who made this signing, because interestingly enough, there are connections to Van Pelt and Patriots general manager general manager Elliott Wolf. Elliott Wolf and Van Pelt actually worked together in Green Bay. So that's how there's kind of a connection to the higher ups in New England and this hire. So it does make me wonder, who is the guy officially making these hirings? Was it truly Gerard Mayo, or do you have guys like Gerard Mayo, Elliott Wolf, those guys all in the same room trying to make this a group decision? Now, there's going to be a lot of factors that go to the stats that I'm about to list, because he wasn't exactly calling offensive plays every single year that he was an offensive coordinator, but he obviously did at least have some of a say, especially when it comes to development and how players were being utilized offensively. In 2023, the Cleveland Browns were the 16th highest ranked offense. They were averaging about 335 yards per game. Now, this is ranked in terms of total offense. This isn't just ranked in terms of passing. It isn't just ranked in terms of rushing. This is total offense. In 2022, they were the 14th ranked highest offense with the Cleveland Browns, averaging 349 yards per game. In 2021, the Browns were the 18th highest ranked offense with 340 yards per game. And then in 2020, the Browns were the 16th highest ranked offense with 369 total yards per game. So under Van Pelt, since 2020, the Cleveland Browns have never peaked in the top 10, but they're not a team that is going to drop below 20. That is still a pretty massive improvement in terms of where the Patriots have been over the last few years. And if you look at it, if the Patriots had even an average offense, even if the Patriots were the 16th or 15th best offense, even this past season, they would have been a playoff caliber team because of the defense they had. They just needed at least average offensive play. And I wonder if this is how Mayo is seeing it. I wonder if he says, we are going to try to do what Bill Belichick ultimately tried to do, but failed at. We don't need a top 5 offense, but as long as we have a middle of the pack offense, top 16 to maybe the 10th best offense, but can have a top 3 to 5 defense and play stout defense and hold opponents to less than 20 points, then we will be a good team. We will be a playoff team. And I hope that that's not his thought process, but I do wonder if he's taking that into. Now, Mike Reese tweeted out when this signing was official by the Patriots, and he added a quote. So this is from a source. He didn't say who the source was, but it says, and I quote, that Van Pelt is a great football mind, very relatable to players, as well as a former player himself. So with that being said, I think Van Pelt fits in perfectly to the type of atmosphere that Gerard Mayo is trying to build. And we've talked about what Gerard Mayo is trying to bring to the Patriots. We broke down his press conference if you guys want to check that video out. But Mayo is trying to do the opposite of Belichick. Mayo is trying to build an atmosphere that players feel welcome, players feel heard, and that the players feel connected to all of their coaches. They don't feel like their coaches are necessarily up on the hierarchy, but they can relate to each other as people, not from coach to player or player to coach, but I can relate to you as a person. Gerard Mayo, both on and off the field, wants this to be a place where players and coaches can bond and everybody can be on the same page and want to work for each other rather than themselves. And I can see where some people would be hesitant with that. But if you go ahead and you look at the Lions, that exact mindset has gotten the Lions to where they are now, which it took them a couple years, but they were in the NFC Championship game this year and were very close to going to the Super Bowl. So if that's what Gerard Mayo was trying to bring up and trying to implement in this locker room, it could potentially be successful as long as it's done right. Ultimately, for this hiring, I am going to give it a B-. I do have some questions. Again, he spent time on and off as an offensive coordinator, but not every year that he was an offensive coordinator was he actually the one calling plays. You look at the offenses that he's worked with, he's done some really good things. He's worked with some higher names up there, but is he going to be able to be the guy calling plays? Is he going to be able to take on as big of a responsibility as offensive coordinator is going to be for the Patriots this upcoming year, because all eyes are going to be on him. But also, Gerard Mayo doesn't really have say on offense. I'm sure he'll have some say on defense, but for the most part, he's going to let Alex Van Pelt have the reins to this offense and is going to go ahead and let him do what he wants to do. I think that if this was exclusively a quarterback's coach signing, it would be A+. But I do have some comments, I do have some questions, and I do have some concerns for him. I do feel faithful that if the Patriots do go with a quarterback's coach at 3rd overall, that, you know what, he'll be able to at least develop that guy. We'll see how far ultimately the Patriots offense will be ranked in terms of total offense by the end of the year. But I do have faith that Van Pelt will be able to develop any quarterback that does come in here, which at the end of the day, you can fire an offensive coordinator after a year. You can fire an offensive coordinator after 2 years, okay? If it doesn't work out with him, it doesn't work out with him. The most important thing is if you're going to draft a rookie quarterback, that you make sure you develop him the right way and not what Belichick did with Mac Jones after his rookie year. But what are your guys' thoughts on the Patriots' official offensive coordinator being Alex Van Pelt, who is the former, or most recently, former not Denver Broncos, but rather Cleveland Browns offensive coordinator / quarterbacks coach? Let me know in the comment section below. Remember to leave a big like on this video, and of course, subscribe to the channel for all of your New England Patriots news. I appreciate you guys so much for watching, and of course, never forget,